All right, boys, welcome to the 6-1 defense, one of the most notorious defenses this year. Boys, we're one of the easiest defenses here to get pressure. 4-man, great pressure. 5-man, great pressure. 6-man, disgusting pressure. Typically only going to be used on big downs, though. Fellas, I will say, this defense, one of the best at making pressure. Not the best defense in the game. I still think Dollar is that, but still, at generating pressure, this defense is phenomenal. Real quick, because I'm not going to be talking about it in this video, but if you're struggling against this defense, guys, under center QB rollouts will dominate it. You have, even like if they're sending 4 and just slanting inside or slanting down, whatever you call it, shotgun rollouts can even be good. But what really shines against 6-1 is 2x2 RPOs. So just know there's many ways we can combat this. So let's go ahead and talk about how I like to run it. Now, I will mention real quick before we get into it, my personnel here, I have lurk artist here, defensive end. Obviously, you guys see Chanel. I have a linebacker here just because I want lurk artists. Obviously, here on the other DN spot, I have Bo Jackson as well. It's just to maximize as many lurk artists. That way I have 2 out here on the outside linebackers. I also have my middle linebacker. I will say you can run middle linebackers here at the outside position, so keep that in mind. So we have 5 lurk artists here on the field. So the entire box is full of legitimate ball hawks, which is great. It's very rare because I'm one of the best in the world. But if I'm getting absolutely dotted, I can go ahead and drop one of these guys into coverage. It helps us out, okay? So it's why I like having it. But typically, if I'm getting dotted that bad, I'll go ahead and go back to Dollar. But like I said, against normal players, or casual players, I should say, you're going to put your hands and feet on them. Even against good players, you can really throw some people off guard if they're playing a little careless. My base defense is pretty much Sam Blitz. I like this because you guys see on the blitzing side, I have a safety inside that flat. So if I have my zone drop set to 30, like my light blues, I can just go shade underneath that. I know he'll drop back to that range, and then I can go ahead and, mix up any coverage I want. Before we start, coaching adjustments, auto flip off, auto base align. Obviously, if I'm playing man, I can go ahead and just man align on the field. Option is set to conservative, like always. Flats are 30, curl flats are 5. If we're getting destroyed by double corners, we can bump this up, but 5 is the stock. Hooks 25. That's what I like to run. I think it's mandatory, but obviously it's up to you guys. And then we're going to be leaving our match coverage on as well. Now, that was a lot of spieling. Let's go ahead and talk about it, boys. Now, against trips, I know this is trio offset. It's the same damn thing. I'll just go ahead and run, I'll run verticals. We can audible if we want. Guys, my base send 5 defense is just shifting my linebackers to the trip side. We're going to go ahead and use this outside linebacker and hover with him. Now, before we just go ahead and hover, what I like to do here is shade over the top. That way I get my curl flats going, and I'll man up this linebacker here to the seam. Now, when I do this, I do like to motion him out to about here. It really doesn't take that much time. It's just a man assignment, shade up, and then motion. And then we'll go ahead and play this gap here. I know this is a very base defense. I also do like to press. Just keep that in mind. Just watch out for the base align press issue. But this is a great kind of 5 defense, I think, because we're kind of watching the seam with the man. You guys can run a vertical hook with this linebacker if you want. I just would recommend you kind of push him out a little further. That way he kind of follows the seam of the vertical, to kind of, just follow up and cover him. But just know you can run that with your 25. Now, like I said, this is just my base 5-man. So if we were to go up against verticals, I typically just kind of hover and then go play the tight end, then cut back inside. And this could be really, really solid for us. Now, if we are, getting taken advantage of here in the slot, like I said, sometimes this guy just does a great job at covering him. Right here, he kind of floated more inside. We can man him up if this is becoming an issue. Or, like I said, you guys can really just stretch him out, and then he'll play that for you. But I know that can be a little more difficult depending on, how much pressure you're generating, or I'm sorry, not how much pressure you're generating, how quick your opponent's snapping. Sorry about that. But still, it's a base defense I like to run. I typically run it with the man assignment. That's just me. But another thing we can do here is we can go ahead and put our flats into a hard flat. That way we are getting our 30-yard zone drops. We can go ahead and slide over again. Something like this, boys, we can run a double Mabel. So we can go ahead and bring this guy over so he plays the sideline, and then go ahead and we have a Mabel here on this side of the field. If you're going to do this setup, I would recommend you go ahead, pinch your line, and slant them inside. That way you can get the disengage pressure. And this is just a nice defense to have. Now, where your user is important is kind of going to be like this triangle of the field, where you're going to kind of play up here, and then you're going to cut down to the sideline, and then kind of back inside. This kind of radius is what you're going to be playing. So typically, I kind of play tight end first, then kind of running back, or vice versa. Doesn't really matter, but Obviously, you guys know the 4-man in this formation can be great, and we have, you know, plenty of protection on the trip side as well. Just know, you know, pretty much like any other Mabel, it's going to be a lot of user stress. Obviously, when we're running a Mabel with an extra vertical hook, we are giving up the flat underneath. So it's going to be your user's responsibility to kind of balance it all out and mix in this pressure. But it's kind of the great thing about 4-3, 6-1 is if we do slide our linebackers to the left, our blitzing linebacker doesn't move, so we can really mix this in pretty well hidden. If we want to do a double man setup and then press this outside corner, like I said, you want to make sure he doesn't get too far inside, or he'll just streak you. But even though we're moving these linebackers, we still are leaving our blitzing linebacker in his same state. So, you know, we can really mix this in quite well and generate pressure. Like I said, I mean, if you guys want to send 3, it's not necessarily something I would recommend. But if you want, I mean, you guys can do a setup like this where you can go ahead and shade underneath and then bring this safety over so he plays any type of corner attacking the sideline. Then you guys can go ahead and pinch, crash down, but then put this defensive end into a purple, and you guys will have the flats covered from that point. And then you're kind of just playing a 3-man pressure where you have coverage everywhere. This can be good. You know, but like I said, I do think it gets to a point with the 6-1 where you might end up generating like no pressure. So just be mindful of how you guys are going to mix in that 3-man pressure when it comes to 6-1. Any other formation, I think it does really well. Obviously, you guys know like dollar 3-man rush can be great. There's just certain formations that shine. I don't necessarily think 6-1 is one of them, but 6-1 really does shine with you know, disguising and hiding your pressure. And guys, another setup that I like to run as well, this is going to be with like a man coverage assignment like we just had. You're going to go ahead and put your linebacker, your middle linebacker, on a man assignment to the seam. Then what I like to do is just go ahead and run a cover 2 on the short side of the field. Now, I will keep in mind, or you guys should keep in mind, if you do feel like running default zone drops are good for you, please, by all means, feel free to do that. Sometimes this can be really good. You just have kind of a base curl flat, base cloud flat, and then you kind of put your user responsibility kind of on the middle of the field. And then, you know, obviously a play like this, if they were to run verticals, that man coverage assignment is going to do really good guarding that streak, just because it's all he's doing. He's not really breaking. And this can be a good play to mix in if you're trying to generate pressure while still sending 5. So, you know, just make sure you have a good hover on your user. Right there, I did a pretty piss poor job at trying to get the center to engage, but this can be phenomenal as well. Let me go and show this to you guys one more time with me actually influencing the center to do something. Sometimes containing can also help your blitz get in my opinion as well. I mean, right there, I mean, these guys are just absolutely doing everything to pick this up, huh? Let me really try to grab this center real quick. All right, I'm gonna grab him this time, fellas. I'm gonna grab his ass. There you go. And then you just go and get your pressure. In game, it's way easier. The hovering is similar to like the $A gap, where you just sit there and then you'll generate the pressure. Sometimes in practice they just kind of come through different. But the 5-man can be phenomenal. And you know, like I said, if you do want to send 6, I typically reserve that. I don't necessarily do it a lot in this, but you guys can do it out of the Samuel blitz as well. If you guys want to just blitz all and then go ahead and man up here, do something like this, you can feel free to do so. And then just go ahead. I mean, you're going to get somebody free just because we're just sending too many. But that's more designed for big downs, you know, 3rd and, you know, forever, 4th and forever. That's when we can go ahead and send that pressure and kind of sacrifice it. So, boys, that's basically it for trips. I think that's kind of a good place to start. This is what I was running on stream the other day. I was kind of getting exposed, but I do think we really straightened it out in our second matchup. So this is what I like to run. I like it. I think we can still generate a lot of pressure, force throws, and with these lurk artists and pick artists everywhere, this can be a really good base defense against trips. All right, boys, now going up against a bunch, we will be running Sam Blitz 3 again. Let me see what I want to run here. It's typically nice when you're making a video to do something that sends 5 out because it makes your pressure look better. So I'm going to go ahead and do Z spot and go. Now, boys, typically I do like to have my blitzer opposite of the bunch side, just because I know he won't bump into anyone, and if they're sending out 5, he's going to get through. But guys, with this specific video, I do want to talk about bunch and sending 4 because we want to make sure we have the safety here on the left side of Sam Blitz 3 in that hard spot state, so he can go ahead and play any type of deep corner. So typically, did I just mess this up? I did. Are you kidding me, bro? Let me go ahead and do this again. There we go. Sweet. Now, boys, against a cover 3, what I like to run, again, like I was saying, I do send the simple 4-man, and then I'll go ahead and put this linebacker here, our blitzing linebacker, into a purple, create a Mabel, and then I'll go ahead and rezone this guy into a purple. You can do this with a press. It's typically how I run it. That way, we're kind of covering all, parts of the field. Where if they were to go ahead and snap it here, we kind of just play the bunch first and then kind of get back to the middle. And then we just hope that our, 4-man disengage pressure gets home. This shines really, in my opinion, because of this safety over the top who's already there, ready to play high on his Mabel. And then, of course, your cover or your 6-1 is going to 6-1 with their disengage. Like I said, I like to play bunch first and then kind of get to the middle of the field just in case there's some type of dig on the short side coming to the middle. Another setup you guys can do, like I said, if you are getting absolutely fried, you guys can mix in a zone drop of your defensive end, but not necessarily something I would recommend as a base. You really want to stay away from this, in my opinion. I just don't think the 3 rusher is good enough in this defense. But if they were to try and do something like a backside dig here by B, let me do something like this. That way we'll go and follow the bunch side. And that will kind of, give our users some time to go ahead and play over here while that vertical hook plays that backside dig. As you guys see, Bo keeps on dropping back. But those vertical hooks are phenomenal. They can really help you out. And still, this is just great coverage defense. You guys see here, Bo Jackson here dropping back with that lurk artist. He is just locking this in route for very, very long portion of time. Definitely enough time for our user to come back and make a play, try and break this up with our mid-zone KO or anything like that. It just can be a really good adjustment. I will say, though, you guys can run this at any side of the field. This is kind of something similar to like my dollar defense that we talked about. I did the wrong adjustment. What did I do here? There we go. Where you guys can run this on the bunch side. But just know, there's a weakness. We're not going to generate much pressure with this type of set, but still, we are really locking it down. And that vertical hook with that zone drop going deep with lurk artist can really, really help us out. I just will say, when you're doing this, you can't forget to blitz your user. If you do not blitz your user and you're only sending 3, your opponent is going to have literally all day long to throw the ball. And if you are only sending 3, I will recommend maybe just not pinching. Maybe just let them kind of sit wide like they are, and then maybe you guys can get a better angle to get a shed from the outside of the pocket to go and get in, just like Bo Jackson did. Like I said, I know that's still kind of it takes long, but still it can be a really good base coverage for your cover 3. Another setup you guys can do is really just putting a cover 2 here on this side of the field, doing an adjustment like this. And then if you guys want to blitz the short side linebacker, you guys can run a combination like this. We are obviously giving away certain parts of the field, but if we want to mix it in, this can be solid for us. All right, guys, I know I'm in a 2x2 for this part of the video, but I do want to talk about double corners against bunch. Like I said, I'm running a 2x2 just because I don't have a good bunch play where I have 2 good corners to match. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this with angle smash if I can find it. There it is. Now, guys, listen, against double corners, a high corner, a low corner route, 6-1 kind of sucks, but we still can work around it. Now, boys, against double corners, we are going to have to bite the bullet. This is how I run my defense. I go ahead and push these curl flats up. You might want to knock down your flat a hair. Kind of depends on what the combination is and what the depths are running. But we can still run cover 4 quarters if we want. We can go ahead and audible out of it. Guys, against something like this, we're going to go ahead and have to do a cover 2 defense on this side of the field. And then, like I said, we're going to have to go bring out this linebacker to help us out. Now, with a setup like this, where we have this really nice corner by Y in a bunch set, you're going to have this looking something like this. I know this looks more like trips, but just focus on the double corner, okay? Where you have this tight end corner that's actually running high on this version that's going to pull up that deep zone, and then we have this corner underneath to get underneath it. Running a Mabel with your zone drops dialed in is obviously going to clamp this, but where that kind of, keeps us vulnerable is the middle of the field, okay? So obviously, you guys know I talk about it all the time. When we're running Mabel, we're running these double flats on the sideline. everything is on the user in the middle of the field. So we can keep that responsibility if we want, or, you know, if they were to match this with something going maybe underneath, like the running back, where he's really, really low, where that purple can't really help him out anymore, and then they pair this with like a slant or something that's breaking in the middle, what we can do, guys, is we can go ahead and put this linebacker here in a middle read, and then we can go ahead and just user this defensive end who we know has lurk artist. That way, once the ball's snapped, we can kind of just play out here, play the underneath, and then that double corner is contained, and we still have our coverage in the middle of the field by the CPU linebacker. I know that was kind of a lot to take in, but basically with that double corner, that leaves the real low underneath vulnerable. That's where our user comes in. Since we're not using the middle, we got to have a good zone drop here with a good linebacker playing this middle of the field to go ahead and you know, guard these routes. But you guys see, was this really the best example of a double corner? They did kind of run in unison. I don't know if somebody got bumped. Is that what happened? Maybe, I don't know, but you guys understand, if one of these guys were to run a little lower, as they should, we're going to have this safety, or linebacker rather, playing him in that zone drop 15 purple, and then we're going to have our light blue at the 25 or 30 over the top to help us out. So I know these guys kind of ran right into each other. It wasn't the best route example, but you guys still see where these guys are in position. If this route combo was better, like you would really see it, you guys see as well, this guy is in position to play that underneath corner. So just keep this in mind. I know we're sending 3 again. I know I keep repeating that, but this can be a great coverage against it. So we're kind of capitalizing, dominating everything here. This could be really good to mix in going up against a double corner. But guys, against 2x2, you know, I think I did this in our last defensive guide. I'll kind of just do a quick one-over of my kind of go-to routes in the 2x2, just so you guys kind of know what you can run against various zone beating combinations. So we'll be talking about slant post combos, wheels, corners, everything like that. And I'll try and make this as quick as possible so you guys can get out of here. To start, we'll go ahead and talk about Sand Blitz 3 against somebody who is attacking the corners, or the sidelines with short running corners. So we'll go up against angle smash. If you guys can, this is going to be a little difficult at times, but I like to put my blitzing linebacker opposite of the running back. It's just what I like to do. If you can't do it, it's okay. But still, it's just what I would say here while we're doing a video. But angle smash is what I'm going to run here. I just want to talk about stopping corner routes. So we'll talk about other combos in the next play. But, you know, if they're running a combo like this on the right side, something that would traditionally beat cover 3, what we can do is just reset our play. This is going to turn on these seam flats matching. And we go ahead and contain and hover our user. If you guys go ahead, watch the pressure, and you also watch 17 on the right side slot, he is going to get matched, and we will be able to generate pressure right there. I did not get the center. Like I said, end game, it's going to be way easier to pull that center's attention. Just practice mode is a completely different game. But again, all we're going to do is just run the streak again. I'll go ahead and really commit here with my user so you guys can see the pressure. And we have a nice matching defender on that corner. This could be great if somebody's really attacking you there. Why do I recommend the seam flat? Because the seam flat does a really good job against a short running corner that really breaks quickly to the outside. Things that we really like to run against cover 3 and cover 4 drops, these seam flats will guard against it. Even like here on the left side, this tight end on the seam streak, the linebacker here, who's Bobby Wagner, I think he's like 2 points slower, still does a great job keeping up with him here in the seam. So against the 2x2, I really like seam flats. They can be really beneficial against a crosser, or a corner rather. If you're going up against somebody who is running wheels, I like to run fork wheel a lot. What I would recommend to you guys is a Mabel. So you guys can do this out of the cover 3. Like I said, you're going to want this from the safety. You guys can also just make a cover 2 defense with hot routes if you want, or quick adjustments. I will say though, against 2x2 where you can really have routes going everywhere, I do like to have a CPU in the middle as well. It's just less stress on the user. If you guys want, you guys can still shift these linebackers to the left and then do a hook curl, and then you guys can run your Mabel like this. So if they try to attack you, you know, with that wheel, your Mabel's going to be in position to help you out. You guys are going to get the 4-man disengage pressure while you still have a linebacker kind of helping your left side vertical hook, and you guys just kind of take the stress off that short side. Now the thing is what's nice, you are defending the short side. It's going to be less field that you have to manage, so just keep that in mind. This can help make your 4-man a lot easier, so just know you can do that. Like I said, you can also just do a cover 2. Now if you're not running Patriots, this is going to take a little longer just because you gotta really create everything. This is what I was doing at the beginning of the year. I thought my head was going to explode. But if you still find you're just too vulnerable in the middle of the field, you guys can put your middle linebacker in a middle third and use the defensive end like we talked about earlier. It can be either defensive end, though I would recommend the one that's on the running back side in case they run to the left. Also, you need to know, middle linebacker here this year has kind of a throttle on his speed dropping back into a middle third. So when he should be hightailing all the way back, he's kind of just going to backpedal like he's kind of crab strafing upfield. So just keep that in mind. But still, it can be really good. But this is something I would recommend for somebody attacking you high-low to the sideline as well. Wheels, this is going to get absolutely bagged. If somebody were to try to throw the wheel against this Y wheel that I absolutely adore, it's just caged. It's just not designed to beat this defense, even on the short side. You're going to get caged. Finally, I will mention, with all this talk about leaving the user isolated, if someone is running the slant post combo out of like Z-spot that we talked about a few months ago, one of my favorite setups in the game, we can go ahead and run a defense very similar as well. So if they go ahead and run this, where they're either going to get their tight end or their slant open. Sorry, I'm kind of stalling right now, boys. I don't know what's going on. You guys can run the Mabel as well. So if you guys want to do this out of the cover 3, I accidentally don't have this out of the right set. So I'm going to go ahead and just try and create it here. Bear with me. There you go. This is pretty much it. But you guys can do this as well. So you'll have this safety on his 30 that's going to be guarding against that tight end on the post on the back end. Now, if you are going to do this while sending forward, you are going to have to use this linebacker. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to sit in the middle and then wait for that deep post to kind of pass off onto the hard flat. Now, I know that can be, you know, a little difficult depending on who you're going up against. So if that is giving you problems, all you're going to do, guys, is just go ahead and put this linebacker here in a vertical hook and go ahead and run your defense like so. Sorry, I'm trying to make a quick cover 3 while adjusting, but something like this is going to be great as well, because you're basically just letting this linebacker play the middle. He's going to go ahead and let that post, or he's going to cover the post, and then he'll pass it off to the cloud flat to the left, and then you guys just follow the slant. So if someone's hitting you with a double post combo, I accidentally did a out and up, but if they're hitting you with something like this, your sole responsibility is just to go ahead and play the slant, and then just don't let the quick throw go to the tight end, play the slant, and then the rest of it's caged by your CPU players. So I know that back end was a little rambly. I apologize. It's just with 2x2, there's a lot that can happen with combinations. And something like this, where you basically let this CPU linebacker help you while you take the slant, and then just go ahead and let your cloud flat kind of be the last line. He'll kind of help out over here. If you need, push him out a little further in case you really got to protect the sideline. All you got to do is just manually bring him over like that, and then go ahead and do it, and you'll be in a better, you know, stance. But yeah, boys, I think that's pretty much it. Run defense is pretty self-explanatory. I also did an RPO breakdown earlier in the season, so I'm not going to be talking about RPOs probably anymore, really, not unless something crazy happens. So if you guys are interested, go check that one out. Really appreciate your guys' time. Hope this didn't eat up too much of your time, but hope you guys find the guide beneficial. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for all the support in May Madden. You guys are the best. Appreciate you, boys. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.